Up. I had theme music queued up, but I realized on my old shows that they were on my old shows that they were killing me. They would silence me out for the first like 5 minutes of it because I was doing chlorine by I'm sipping on straight chlorine.
Hey, Wild West, we are not late. You were early.
Exactly.
I just want to throw that out.
We were early.
You were early. We were not late. I'm realizing my lighting here is kind of sucky. I don't know if that's going to help out or not. That's better.
Happy July 4th, everybody, or July 5th.
Hey.
And we're celebrating it tonight. So,
yeah. Happy 4th of July, everybody. I mean, that's a.
So today was the day off that I was supposed to have that I didn't take. Okay.
So employee. So you being the manager did not give employee number 7 the day off, right?
No. Yeah. I took up the yellow today and worked. Actually, it was nice because it was a federal holiday. I had 2 employees that had the day off because they had Sunday off, and we went ahead and gave them today off. Mm-hmm. First chance they had like because we were 6 days a week, so they could have 2 consecutive days off. They really enjoyed that. So It was nice. It was nice. So my new guy, I got some one-on-one training time with him, and that was really nice too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's awesome. Get to know how he works out and how things go and all that kind of stuff. So
we knocked out 3 little projects. Then I had him gone by 3:00, and it was beautiful. Then I went out and did estimates, and now I'm here still. Yep.
Well, hey there, Spray Wash fam. Tonight, Ray and I are going to talk a little bit about care, custody, and control. And we're also going to end up at some point today giving away a ticket to the huge convention happening on the August 18th, 19th, and 20th. August 18th will be the Spray Wash classes and the other classes prior to the convention. And we're going to give away a ticket to that tonight. But
yes,
what's that?
I said, yes, we will.
Yes, we will. We haven't decided how we're giving it away yet. So it'll be interesting. You guys can tell us how it is that we're going to give it away. But anyhow, Nathan says, Doug, did you hear some good news about your new place? Oh, the cat's out the bag. That's right. No, we're not letting the cat out the bag here, just so you know. Anyhow, yes, I did hear some news about my new place. I made an offer, and an offer has been accepted verbally. But it's actually not in Hammond. It's actually in just outside of Walker. But I'm even going to look at another building tomorrow in Baton Rouge, even though we have verbal offers back and forth. So I got a place, but I don't got a place. So yeah.
Just always remember a real estate contract, a verbal contract is worth the paper it is written on. So
yeah, exactly. It's verbal. It means squat. So. Anyhow, yeah.
Rusty saying that I get paid double holiday pay. Yeah, no, I'm on salary.
Double nothing pay.
Although I actually do get overtime with my current thing. I get overtime for more than 5 days worked a week. So it's working out pretty sweet on this overtime thing. So
yeah.
I look forward to the day whenever I don't have to actually work it. So. Although, and let me deviate from and can you hear me okay? Because I have a new speaker set up in here. But
peachy.
If you hear any echo, because I've got a little bit set up strange. But one of the absolutely beautiful things Governor DeSantis did, and a bunch of other governors did as well, is they got rid of that ridiculous ass $300 a week supplemental thing. Our applications for jobs have been coming in like crazy. I've been able to hire within the past month and a quarter. We've hired 5. We've hired 5. Now 2 of them have left so far or didn't make the cut, so to speak. But I'm really excited about the amount of people that are applying, and our applications are just amazing.
Awesome. Hey, another thing I did want to, before we go too far out, I want to make sure I mention that just so everybody knows that we use StreamYard for this. And so we don't see all of the comments that happen because it's streamed out in several. And by the way, please share. We would appreciate it if you would share it out in your other groups. But we don't see all of the comments that happen. So we're only seeing some of the comments, and quite frankly, I haven't figured out where we see them from yet. So I had somebody, ask me the other day about, and I looked at his comments after the fact. He made really good comments, but we don't ever mention his comments. And he's like, why not? I mean, and I'm like, because we never see him. That's why. But anyhow, I don't know how to fix that or what to do. I mean, we pay for the service and all that, so. I don't know.
And somebody at Wild West saying I'm gonna turn the gain down a little bit. I don't have a gain on here, so I'm just gonna put that down there and turn my speakers down a little bit too. So maybe I won't get any feedback from them. And hey, we'll try it from that.
Better if you bring it closer to you.
Like that?
A little closer. A little closer. Yeah. Like that. You know what I'm gonna do. Anyhow.
So, and it's not just the control, custody, and care that we're talking about tonight. We really kind of, when Doug and I were talking about ideas, we really want to talk about, and see, Ryan, actually your name is showing up on here. Oh, is it set to, hey, you probably have to go out to my page to share it. Yeah. Oh, well, if you're in a group, you probably can't.
You probably have to either go to Ray's page, my page, or YouTube to share. Yeah, didn't think about that.
When we started talking about this, it's not just the control and care custody. It's really about insurance in general. But I also want to qualify this as we could be up here probably till tomorrow at the same time talking about insurance, because insurance is kind of a big deal. And Jacob, there for you, sir. For those of y'all who didn't actually see that, I'm going to put his comment up there so you can all see that, why I just flicked him off.
The sound is pretty bad because he can hear Lindenberg.
So there's so much to do with insurance, and insurance is a game. Insurance, understand this. And first off, understand that Doug and I, neither of us have an insurance license. Neither of us are experts. You should basically not take any advice that we give you. Right. What you hear tonight, you should not listen to us. You should talk to an insurance professional. We are just talking to you from our personal experiences.
Our personal experience, knowledge, and firsthand experiences.
Talk to a licensed, insurance person, insurance broker, somebody that's familiar with this. We're just giving you our experience as successful washers, as teachers, as observers of this industry.
I'm going to go one further and say that don't necessarily get the advice from your insurance agent. Okay. Hear me out here. You can get your information initially from your agent and get an understanding, but understand that your insurance agent isn't the one that makes the decision, right? It's the underwriter that makes the decision based on. So if you have a very specific question, you ask your insurance agent, but you say, can I get confirmation from the underwriter, or can I get it in writing? Right. Typically, the insurance agent is not going to give it to you in writing. They're going to go through the underwriter to give it to you in writing, because they can't put themselves out there for it. Because then, I mean, that's what they have. They have errors and omissions insurance to help them cover their butts on that kind of thing. So.
Well, Rusty is sitting there right there, exactly what you're talking about. A lot of people who were with Joe, it was actually Joe Walters, not John Walters, but Joe Walters.
Libbity bibbity.
They wound up getting the libbity bibbity. Yeah. If they wound up getting the cancellation notice, and it wasn't Joe Walters canceling them, it was Liberty Mutual, who was their underwriter, because Joe Walters was the agent for that, not actually the the insurance company for it.
Exactly.
That's a big thing about the whole insurance is there's agents, there's brokers, and then there's actually the underwriter themselves. Liberty Mutual was the underwriter that went and threw the whole industry into a tailspin. And that's one of the things we'll talk about. But, first off, before we get like too deep into this, I want everybody to remember, and we've got this, and we're actually writing this down into book format.
Mm-hmm.
If you have insurance, meaning you have an insurance policy, and you think, okay, well, I'm good, I'm awesome as a washer now, I've got an insurance policy,
mm-hmm.
and you're pulling this behind you're pulling a rig behind your 97 Civic 2-wheel drive, that you put a bumper hitch mount on there. If you haven't gone out and gotten commercial vehicle insurance, you're still not covered. Mm-hmm. Understand you may have gotten some commercial insurance, and I'm going to show you in a little while where I signed up for commercial insurance online, but you're not covered hardly for 90% of what you do, dragging your rig around town. You're really not covered,
And you think that you are.
Well, the class that we were writing last year, the foundation class, if you remember, Doug, where we were having the insurance agent come in and we were talking about one of the biggest things in the world was your insurance you have on your car does not cover you the minute you start using your car for commercial purposes or your truck for commercial purposes, and especially whenever you start carrying a pressure washing trailer around.
Yeah, they can deny your claim the second that they realize you're using it for, any sort of business purposes, right? Sometimes it's really up to them. They make the choice, they make the decision as to whether or not they're going to honor the policy, because they don't have to. You're using your vehicle for commercial purposes, but you don't have a commercial policy, right? I think in the end they know that they're probably going to get nailed, in a lawsuit situation. But I mean, realistically speaking, they get to walk away from a lot of that if they want to. Okay.
And it's amazing. You already see the people are like, oh, this is boring, I don't want to hear about this. Because our view count is like half of what it is. Guys, if you're just starting tuning in and you're watching one of the replays, understand, and I mean this sincerely, this is one of the most important things you'll ever hear in your life. This is, Doug and I get on here and cut up and we have fun and we bullshit and we rap about stuff. But this insurance thing is one of the most important things you'll ever learn in this industry.
I think for us too, we talk about insurance. I mean, somewhat regular, a couple times a year, if you would, we talk about insurance, but it's really because it's so important that people understand what it really is and what it really isn't. And this time we went a little bit different in really describing the care, custody, and control, because that's specific verbiage that is in, or it can be the exclusion, if you would, from your policy, and they're words that you need to look for. Okay, so we're going to get not only into the care, custody, and control, but just in some of the verbiage that you need to look for within your own policy. And this is why we're suggesting that you talk to your local agent, and then depending on how that conversation goes, maybe get clarification from the underwriter as to what is covered and what is not covered.
Absolutely. One of the things that I pulled up today, and I'm just zooming in on it so I can read a little bit better without my glasses. Although, hold on. God, that feels good. I can zoom in more. I don't need you glasses.
Yeah. So let's do this. What is care, custody, and control?
All right. Well, I'm going to pull out. I'm going to switch a screen right here and say, here's what Insurian itself says.
Yeah.
Insurian.com triggers care, custody, or control exclusion. applies if any of the conditions are true. You are temporarily in charge of another person or company's property or responsible for watching it. That's the care.
Mhm.
You are responsible for safeguarding the property. That's the custody. Or you have power or authority to manage, direct, or oversee the property. That's the control.
Mhm.
So what they're saying in a nutshell is that if you screw up this property, if it was under your care, custody, or control, you are the expert. You're supposed to know what you're doing. You're supposed to know that drive it. Hold on, let me give a little tease for plant and property protection class. You're supposed to know that drive it as an expert, as somebody who is wielding a pressure washer, somebody with a business license who is doing this for a fee. You're supposed to know that drive it. Hold on.
Should be cleaned at 1200 degrees and 1800 psi, right?
Hot water with 1800 psi. Absolutely. Yep, that's it. And make sure the hot water is integral on there. Now, 600 psi, and you cannot use hot water. So that's part of the care and the custody. Whenever you represent yourself as a professional and that you know what you're doing, and as an expert, the care, custody, and control could kick in on an insurance policy unless it's specifically addressed. So whenever you go and screw something up by doing it wrong, guess what? Your damages aren't covered.
And I'll go one further on that too. Even if your policy doesn't say anything about care, custody, and control, you need to still look at the policy and does it say anything about the items that you're working on or workmanship? Okay. And those are words that are used against you in this field, if you would.
Very specific words, yes.
Very specific words. So workmanship is not typically covered in a standard policy.
Right.
The reason being is because if you're the professional, you know that you're not supposed to be using hot water on drive it. And if you don't know that, you should have known that because you're selling yourself out as the professional. So doing things that are workmanship related may not be covered in your policy. And that's one of those pieces of verbiage that are in there that you have to look for.
That's why you can't go in there and abuse a piece of property with a red tip and expect for them to go and cover your damages, because that's a workmanship issue on there. And then past workmanship, one other thing that they've done is go in here and put the care, custody, and control verbiage in so many of the policies out there.
So and I'm going to take this to the direct. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead. After you.
I was going to say, I'm going to take this into the let's say you're moving a great big vase, right? I mean, I've had that happen. One of my guys broke a large, urn thing, right? Mm-hmm. That's a big decoration out front, right? So the way I'll describe this, I've got a really good friend of mine, been a friend of mine for most of my life for the most part, and he's into auto body. He does all the auto body work, right? So if he's working on a car, he's doing something with that car, right? And he drops his grinder on the windshield, okay? That windshield may not be covered. And now let me go a little bit further. If he reaches in that car and he's going to move some stuff so that it doesn't get dirty or whatever, and he drops it and he breaks it or he loses it, that's care, custody, and control. He had care, custody, control of it, right? So it's the same thing as things you're moving around the property. And I know that the excuse that we could use here is, well, this is why I don't move stuff. Hey, that's not what we're talking about here. Yes, you can use that as your excuse, but those are things that all fall under that care, custody, and control. If you're moving things around even, or if you just plain screw something up on the property because you're not doing what you're supposed to do.
People assume that they have insurance and they're covered because they have insurance. Mm-hmm. Most guys are not covered by either one, the insurance that they have, or two, they're not covered in general with any insurance. And they think that, oh, well, I got insurance, I'm okay. And they wind up pissing off customers or doing a shoddy job. And it's just, there's so many lucky people in this industry. It's amazing how many lucky people are in this industry, because I as being Tallahassee's largest company, I get called out for every dodo mishap in the world going, well, the guy, can you fix this can you fix this problem? Can you have this? Can you make this right what this guy did? And I'm the first one to say, did you file a claim against him? Well, no, I feel bad. He was a young guy just starting out. I don't know if his insurance, is going to cover that or whatever reason. Or sometimes it is, we filed, the insurance denied it, and the only place for me to go was him, and he does not have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of, And that's what happens with a lot of guys out there. They frankly don't have any assets. They don't have anything to go after. And, the old saying, you can't get blood from a turnip. Mm-hmm. But also remember this as well, too. If you're the guy who's working out there with substandard crap insurance, or you don't know your craft well enough and you're screwing up people's property, here's what happens whenever your insurance doesn't pay off. It doesn't go away, does it, Doug?
No, it typically doesn't.
Your insurance denies it, it does not go away.
They can still go get an attorney and come after you personally.
They can go after you for that landscape damage, for that paint damage, your insurance denied it? That sucks. I guess we're going to have to go after you.
And, the only thing you can do there, and again, this is one of the reasons that you form a business as a business and you don't pierce the corporate veil. And that is because if they have to come after you, they should be going after your company and not you on the personal side.
That's a rabbit hole right there that you're talking about. This is why we could talk about this for 24 hours. Literally, corporate veil is a whole. This is why we say run your business like a business. Do not sit there and go to the gun store and buy yourself a new pistol unless you can document that it's going to be a truck gun or you're going to use it for protecting yourself out on job sites. Don't go to the movies unless you're taking and put it on your company credit card, unless you're taking a customer or a client with you. Don't pierce that corporate veil. I mean, this is all part of that. Don't have the car or vehicle in your name. Have it in your company's name. I mean, I've gone through that myself,
There are ways to do it where you can lease it,
There are ways to do. Absolutely, there are ways to do it. I'm just kind of going,
Yeah, but you need to go through an attorney to find out how you can do it in your area, because you listen to us and we say, oh yeah, just lease it from yourself, and then you find out that didn't work. Don't become blaming us. Yep. So do check on what we're saying here. But I'm telling you, it's there are ways to do it, but you don't want to pierce that corporate veil where they can then come after you if something does happen.
Wild West has been writing a lot of awesome comments out there. I can't even go over, but his comments are spot on. And actually, maritime law has a lot to do with insurance. I believe you'll even see this whenever I come in here in the center and sharing screen.
Yeah.
But they absolutely talk about the maritime law in there. Papa Puff, Dave, he's sitting there saying you have 3 strikes with liability insurance. Absolutely. Understand. I mean, Doug and I are literally writing a book at this point too about the power washing industry. I figure if guys with less than a year's insurance can write a guidebook on pressure washing, let's let a couple of guys with 20 years experience with multi-million-dollar companies write a freaking guidebook on there, and we'll. Don't get me started on that.
Yeah. You're started. Yeah.
Going up. But absolutely.
It is.
I'll call my insurance. Yeah. I'll put it on my insurance. No, you won't, because eventually you won't get insurance if you keep putting stuff on your insurance. You will not do that.
And insurance is like Dave is saying here. Most people don't understand the 3-strike rule, right? And with liability insurance, it really should be or shouldn't be about something that is 500 or 1,000 or 50. You have to set your own dollar limit, but for me, I mean, if it wasn't going to be $2,500, $3,000, I was going to pay it. And I paid several things. We always had little things come up here and there, for the most part, and you just pay them. You don't turn them into insurance. That's not, that's not a smart way of running business.
The only liability claim we ever had was I think $6,500 or $8,500 for a security fire alarm system, and that was when we were starting off early. I can't believe actually within the last 2 or 3 years, if I would have even submitted that to insurance, I probably would have just gone ahead and stroked that check on there.
Yeah, been done with it. That's where all the learning comes in,
Yeah, absolutely. You got to factor out what the costs are on there, But it's absolutely insane how many people think, oh, I see it all the time. Well, you and I laughed a couple months ago. We were laughing about the guy with stuff we learned where somebody said, oh, well, I always make sure I price my jobs above my deductible.
Yeah, I remember that one.
I mean, that's like one of those things that's so dumb that it gives you Forrest Whitaker eye there. You what? I mean, that's horrible. That's
like a Slurpee brain freeze.
That is not a sound business practice right there. Pricing just above your insurance deductible. How about you're just you just do it. And look, here's somebody righteous standard. I've not started because I'm nervous about damaging someone's property. Yeah, this is where you read. You practice on your own property or your family's property or your friends. I mean, and God knows you can't have analysis paralysis. You actually do eventually have to go out and do something. You can worry about it. You can worry yourself sick. It's Doug and my job to sit here and point out what could be the negative things on there, what you need to think about, what you need to worry about. But we're not sitting here trying to scare you out of getting into this business. We're trying to scare you into getting training,
getting it right,
doing things the right way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because, I mean, let's look at it this way, too. I'd like to bring up that you also have to pay attention to, again, as we say, the broken record side of it, where you're getting your information from. And when I say that, I want to qualify it as in not just the experience of the person, right? So you can look at Ray and myself and say, okay, great, they built good, successful companies. They've got lots of experience. These are who I want to listen to. Great, but keep in mind the area that you're in. And so when you're reading those posts online and you're saying, this is how I do it here, is that here anywhere near you? Because it may not apply to you in your area, right? Here in my area, we don't have hardly any rain gutters anywhere. And then in a lot of other areas, there's rain gutters everywhere. So things don't apply the same. Keep that in mind.
Absolutely. One of the best places you can actually get, I'll do a shameless plug for the huge convention right now. One of the best places you can get some quality information. I'm sure they'll have representatives from insurance companies there. I'm sure, and you'll be talking to people that have $2, $5, $10 million companies that are keynote speakers. Mm-hmm. You'll have old farts like Doug and I who've sold our companies out there, but go to the huge convention this year. Dear Lord, especially if you're new starting out, go to the huge convention. You will learn more in 3 days.
In 2 days from now, on 7/7 at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the huge convention is going to go live, and they're also going to give away some tickets and some other freebies, like they're giving away a freebie to the plant and property protection class. Okay, so I'm telling y'all right now, too, especially, that would be a good place to start for you to get some really good education on the things that can go wrong how to protect the plants and property to begin with, how to repair stuff if something does go wrong. Because to me, it's not a matter of if something is going to go wrong.
It's literally when it will.
Something is going to happen at some given point in time.
because stuff will go wrong.
Always does. So,
Wild West, if you already have your LLC and your business built, it's a tax write-off and it's a vacation for you. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
And bring your wife and your girlfriend or your kids, take them to the Atlanta Aquarium. Absolutely righteous. That thing down there at the bottom, courses, spraywashacademy.com. Tons of online training out there. So,
yep. So, and then don't forget again, I'm going to do the plug for the Huge here. Huge convention, August 18th, 19th, and 20th, Plant and Property Club. We're going to start off on the 18th with the basics class, which will be basics of roof cleaning and soft washing. So that might be one that's right down your alley to get you started.
Hey, Doug, take the mic for just a second. I got to excuse myself for 1 second.
Gotcha.
Make your calls.
So you've got the basics course that'll start off 8 o'clock in the morning, and then that will run up until 11 o'clock. And I think that one's $199. You can get that if you go to plantandpropertyprotection.com. There's a link you can click on that will take you through, and it will get you to where you can check out for that kind of thing as well. But then so that's from 8 o'clock until 11 o'clock. And then at 12 o'clock, from 12 to 4 will be the plant and property protection class. And that's $499. With that, you also get your, we've got a class out there. So you'll get the online version, you get the in-person plant and property class, you'll get the online version of the plant and property class, and then you'll also get the online version of the government sales class that Ray did, and it's a very good class that help you get in the direction of doing government sales. And then after that, for pro members only, we're going to be doing Jason Ayers, myself, and Ray will all be getting together to do a little bit of a rig building class, as well as a kind of a happy hour, just kind of all getting together with pros and sitting and talking about business and that sort of thing. And that should be a really good and fun time. So if you're a pro member and you're wanting to sign up for that last class, still go to this plant and property right here. There's actually another link I can give you. Let me see if I can put that link up real quick. Should be this one right here. Go to that link right there, and that's the form for all of the classes. If you're a pro member and you're going to the Huge convention, use that link right there. The very, very bottom, you can sign up for that last class. Again, Jason Ayers will be the one running that deal, and it'll be for rig building, and then that will be kind of our happy hour, if you will.
Happy hour social moment that we have.
Moment, yes. That'll be a good time, I think. So again, there's your sign up link right there.
The I turned your banner off.
All right. No, it's good.
The
plant and property management is a huge sales feature for clients. Absolutely.
100% it is. That's one of the things we talk. One of the things we talk about in that class is how to actually sell what you're learning as well. And we talk about writing the estimates that our estimates literally kick the heck out of our competition on there.
Absolutely.
It's the way we write it up.
This thing is kind of about insurance, care, custody, and control. I'm going to tell you what, plant and property protection class falls right in line with that. Absolutely. Even though we're not talking about insurance, we're talking to you about how to protect yourself against these insurance claims even.
Absolutely. And so one of the things that where I went in here earlier, and we were talking, because Doug and I were talking about, first off with the book we're writing, second off with the care, custody, and control. And we said, well, let's talk about this tonight. So I went to one of the online insurance places, and this is in no way, mean, shape, or form meant to disparage this particular place. I am just pointing out things that I have encountered with there. I'm not by any means saying this is substandard insurance. I'm not saying they're horrible people. I'm not saying don't buy this product.
But we're also not endorsing this product.
We're not endorsing this product, and we're giving you our opinion. We're allowed to give opinions, right?
Well, that depends on who you talk to.
In my opinion, as a representative of Spray Wash Pro, this is my opinion only. Actually, you know what? It's not even a Spray Wash Pro. This is my hold on. What's worth? No, as a representative of Spray Wash Pro, this is my opinion only.
There you go. There you go.
All right. So I went into, let me share the screen here. So I went into a online place, and it was called Thimble is where I went to. And Thimble's one of those places that advertises, hey, you want insurance? We can get you insurance right now. Rock on. Let's do the insurance
We
thing.
got you covered.
We make it, we make it hip. We make it fun, and insurance is fun. Let's do it. So, go on there. You go into the first screen. Okay, what's not covered? Because I typed in pressure washing. Well, what's not covered? Floor waxing during business hours or in commercial buildings with heavy foot traffic. So what actually defines heavy foot traffic? I don't know. Hazardous waste removal. What is hazardous waste removal? Well, wait a minute. A lot of you guys sit there and advertise that you remove mold. Don't we?
Yeah, I don't say mold.
Well, you can't because Louisiana is like Florida. But that's 7 states don't say that you can't say mold. There's 43 other states where a lot of guys do advertise mold.
Yeah, and you got to remember that mold is something that is it's a licensable deal.
Yeah, and it's a hazardous waste.
Yeah.
Okay, so inspectors aren't covered. Also, performing work over 3 stories in height. And then they specifically say 30 feet. 30 feet, not just 3 stories. I do some 2-story buildings that are more than 30 feet or that are 30 feet, So real high gables on there.
A lot of insurance companies, I'm going to say probably most that I've seen, their cutoff is 15 feet.
So my second page that I had to answer, how long will you need coverage? A month or more. So I went with the extended plan. I went ahead and got a month or more. Coverage is available. General liability, equipment protection, unlimited instant certificates of insurance. That's actually really good. I like that. Ongoing round-the-clock coverage. Well, duh. And then pause your policy up to 30 days. Now, if we go with the less than a month option, you don't get equipment protection. You also don't get ongoing around the clock coverage, and you can't pause your policy, which that's not appealing to me because we work 24/7 round the clock. I mean, I'm not caring about that. So my base cost on there before I did any kind of add-ons or anything for $1 million in coverage, and let's face it, $1 million sounds nice. At Spray Wash Exterior Cleaning, before I sold my company, we actually had $3 million. Now that was $2 million liability and $1 million umbrella. So we ran around with $3 million policy. Doug, where were you at, if you don't mind me asking, before you sold Cajun?
Yeah, we had started out, we had $1 million policy. We had bumped up to a $5 million policy. And then when I sold the company, we were back at a $2 million policy. Mm-hmm. The $5 million policy, though, was to meet the needs of a very specific high-end client that needed the $5 million policy. Matter of fact, the job that it's not to get into story time here, but the job itself that we were doing, I think we were charging $2,500 for the job. The added $5 million policy was costing me $5,100 for the policy for the year. And so I went back to them and we increased the job by $5,000. So now it was 75 or 7,800 bucks, whatever it ended up being, so they could get the job done. And
yeah, I've actually done that before as well. We've actually increased it so that people paid for our bump up in insurance. So Wade made an interesting comment. He said, do most people care as long as you have insurance?
That's what I was going to post on.
But you know what? Actually, yes. But this
isn't about them.
Do they care? No, they don't give a flying crap. Do you care? Because this is what happens whenever something goes awry. Does it literally take everything that you've been working for the last 2, 3, 5, 10 years and suck it out of your wallet? So that's why.
It's not whether or not they care. They don't care. I mean, do people care if you have insurance? I think most people do care if you have insurance, but if you say I have insurance and you prove to them that you have a policy and all that, hey,
and
they're
give them a sheet that says $1 million
is about you.
But yeah, this is protecting you as a washer yourself. I mean, because I don't care about this is about you guys tonight. This is about you as the washers. This isn't about the insurance. This is talking about the fallacies of the insurance world. This is talking about where you're going to get screwed as a washer is where we're at right now. So, you know, a true secret, a 16-year-old with a general insurance, 85,000 payout was reduced to 25,000, you know, $1 million homes. Nobody asked. Yeah. And, you know, I'm the same way. I get asked very rarely for my insurance. I honestly do, but I also want to know that I'm covered for some of the stuff that I do as well.
I would even go so far as to say
I ain't read jeans, but jeans always a good comment. So window cleaning, chemical use, roof cleaning is usually not covered under most general liability. Absolutely. Absolutely. Most windows are not covered because you go in there and pressure clean a window and you fog it up. Well, guess what? The window already says, the window manufacturer says, do not put any pressure on this window. You're violating their terms of service or their warranty by hitting it with 500 PSI. Oh, absolutely. And one more. We just talked about that, Gene, with mold. We were talking about that. People, you know, you're in Florida, obviously, you know, with me, and Doug's in Louisiana, another state where we can't advertise mold. But this policy that I'm talking about right here, it actually gets into the chemical and it gets into hazardous materials on there. Yep. When a thing comes back to contract law. Exactly. I mean, so, and contract law becomes back also then to care, custody, and control of it.
I think on this one from Jim Leedy here. So am I better off to go with an insurance provider that deals with our industry like Joe Walters, or with a general commercial provider? I think Joe Walters is a great company to start out with. I started my company with him. The problem for me is that, you know, if you're going to grow, scale, or if you're going to break into commercial work where you're going to get over 3 stories, and I think Joe Walters can do that. So I think Joe Walters is a good place to go. But I also would suggest that maybe you check locally as well. If you get a good agent, even though he's not maybe specific to our industry, if you explain what you do and you make sure you give him all the different scenarios to get yourself covered right, that's the important side of it. There's nothing wrong with maybe comparing policies, but I do think, my personal opinion, Joe Walters is a good place to go for a starter policy. After I got beyond that, I went to a different company.
And you can also get additional riders and stuff for Joe Walters. You can have multiple insurance companies. There's nothing wrong with having multiple guys writing insurance for you.
I actually think that since this whole deal with Liability came down, that it's actually better for us in the industry where Joe Walters can now write things better than they used to.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they might even
get them out of their comfort zone. Yep. Yeah. So Wade now comes in there and says, you know, am I worth paying $600 worth versus $300? What are the odds? Well, I guess if you're a gambler, play the odds, but understand that whenever that call gets brought into you, if you've got that kind of money out there on the craps table and you can't afford to lose, you know, $5,000 that you've got on the come line, you're screwed at that point. I mean,
let me go this direction with the odds. So let me, by a show of hands of those that are on the screen right now, how many of us have damaged property? I mean, that's 100% right there, right? So my point in that, Wade, is that is it worth the money? To me, yes, it really is, because it's not a matter of if, it truly is a matter of when. I've already paid for different things. I've been on many jobs where they've been damaged by other contractors. One of them was a great scenario where the lady called me up, said, "Hey, this guy pressure washed my roof. We think he did some damage. Can you come take a look, maybe fix it?" He had literally gone out there, with a oh crap! Now I'm doing it. What is it, Ray? A rotary.
Casting a Harry Potter spell. I'm not sure.
Yeah. It's gonna. I don't know why.
I turn into a frog here. I'm liable.
With a turbo nozzle. He went up on the roof with a turbo nozzle in the rain. I don't know why he did that, but anyhow, and he created all this damage on the roof. And so I said, "Look, I'm sorry, but I think you should go, file an insurance claim because." So for me, most people didn't ask if I had insurance because I provided the insurance copy policy with my estimates. And that's what he did. He gave up his policy information. So she contacted the insurance company, and the insurance company said he's not supposed to be doing brain surgery. Okay.
Right.
He was doing something he wasn't supposed to be doing. He was pressure washing the roof as a professional, not what he's supposed to be doing. We don't cover that. Okay. Right. They would have covered it if he would have blown a shingle off and it landed on the car and scratched the car, but they weren't covering what he was working on. And because he was doing it against what he was supposed
that's
to do.
That's the care, custody, and control. And that's also going against the and this is one of the things about, and I don't mean to be like the shameless shill for plant and property protection, but this is where it's so important to understand what the manufacturer is telling you to do, because how many insurance claims come down to what are the manufacturer's specs on this? Mm-hmm. What did Drive It say? What does GAF Shingle say about cleaning? What does ARMA say about cleaning those shingles? What is the proper way to clean them?
What do the window manufacturers say?
Yeah.
Which that's actually a sticky wicket there, because
it really is. It's huge. It's huge.
Yeah, a lot of the window manufacturers don't recommend chemicals and they don't recommend pressure. So
absolutely. How do you do it? How do you wash a house?
Yeah.
And keep the chemicals off the windows. It really is and that's where you're tossing some dice right there. But so I'm going on to the next page here. So the next shot that I had on this is signing up for the Thimble policy is, so I get my general liability that covers, in case it's too small, but I'll read it, covers third-party property damage, bodily injury, and personal and advertising injury. That means the everyday accidents that can happen on the job, slip and falls, flying tools, spilling coffee on a customer's laptop. You get the idea. Okay, it's cute. They're hip. They're fun. They say, "Oh, you spilled coffee on a customer's laptop." And yes, that's talking about the freak accidents. How many times does a freak accident happen? Well, they actually happen semi-occasionally. Yeah. But look underneath that, though. So that's $1 million right there. $1 million. But look under here. Premises protection. What's another word for premises control, or another 3 words?
Plant and property protection.
Well, no, I was thinking control,
care, custody, and control.
Control. Because it says, while general liability insurance covers damage that's incidental to your work. Keyword, incidental to your work. That is knocking a shingle off. That is the ladder may fall down. That is some bizarre, weird thing happens.
You're pressure washing and you're rinsing and you blow a rock through the window.
Right. This covers damage to third-party property that you're working on or with. It's stated literally here whenever you're signing up for it. Many insurance providers don't actually offer this. We've got your back. Do you see how the plus is grayed out? Because that's why I maxed out this coverage. The maximum they will pay is $5,000. The maximum they will pay. So you go in there and you screw up a Sherwin-Williams paint job. Is $5,000 repaying that house?
On a $1 million policy?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, but so they're maxing their coverage out for something that you screw up, for something that you should have known as a pressure washer. They're maxing their liability out at $5,000. And that's a lot more. You kill hedges, you kill a landscape package. That's going to be a $5,000 maximum payout, not the $1 million payout on there. So this is part of things that's important to understand about the care, custody, and control, the 3 C's of insurance, you know. Now, I can also add on my business equipment protection. Covers the equipment you use to get the job done, from a camera to your power tools, also known as inland marine insurance. And Wild West has been talking about that. Business equipment protection is just common sense. It's a $500 deductible for $2,500 worth of coverage. That won't cover crap of what I have, honestly.
So, Jim, your question is, when you both started out, did you have coverage? I'll say I didn't have coverage for maybe my first 2 jobs, but I knew that I needed coverage. I just couldn't necessarily afford it. But I realized very quickly that I couldn't not afford it. Right?
Exactly. I got insurance. I got insurance within the first month that I was working.
Exactly. My
and it was a crap $50,000 policy. I will be the first to say it was like a $50,000 policy, just enough to say that I was insured on there. So now I'm at $520 a month on here. I added on the business protection. So somehow I wound up jumping up to, after I added that on, I'm now at $849 a month on here. So that's, I've got my business equipment protection, my premises protection of $5,000. Understand, it's $5,000. Guys, that's not crap. That's one front door. That's half of a front door on some of the places that I wash.
Yeah.
That's a quarter of a landscape package. General liability. So yeah, $1 million for slip and fall and freak accidents, you know? I mean, it's crazy. So just, you have to understand your insurance policy.
And I do like the cash reserve thing. I mean, you know, Ray and I have said it before, and I really think that you should come up with a percentage that you pick, you know, 5% of every single job, 10% of every job. I would say 25% of every job in the beginning till you build up to, say, $5,000. Once you get about $5,000 set on the side, then maybe drop it down to like a 5%. When you're at first, you know, you start out as a single owner operator, your profit margins are generally up there about that 75% range. So you can afford to put away a little bit more right off the bat to be able to build up to have that little nest egg sitting on the side so that you don't have to go in and use that insurance policy.
Gene O'Neill is saying the exact same thing right there. First insurance is some cash reserve and a list of good contractors. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. True Seeger never got insurance until his first commercial job. Young and stupid before. You know, sometimes we gamble, you know, and we're lucky. You wash $1 million, multi-million, they're going to have $250,000 in plants out there you can't kill. Yeah, 100%. I mean, you know, a lot of us don't understand like these areas. There are $250,000 landscaping packages out there. I've seen them. I've washed around them. I mean, it's scary.
No, a $10,000 or $20,000 tree sitting there.
You know, there's the one place I do a video on it every year that I'm out there, and it's a plantation that's been in this family's. It's been in the family since Reconstruction in the South, and it's got a Japanese maple that is literally as big, or I mean, like 2 foot across in the trunk. It would be a $20,000-$25,000 tree to replace. And we washed the slate roof without gutters right beside it. And we've never even, you know, messed a leaf up on there. So,
and you'd be surprised at what people can end up suing you for. And as an example, some of you know, I was actually sued once in this industry, right? And part of what I was sued for was embarrassment. Okay.
What?
The guy was embarrassed that I killed his plants, which I didn't do. It was 4 months after my cleaning and right after 2 record freezes in Louisiana that his plants died. Yet it was my fault. Anyhow, the point being is that he sued also for embarrassment because he was embarrassed on it. So he wasn't embarrassed that his place looked like crap before we got there. Beautiful. But he was embarrassed that his plants were dead. So my point in this is that they're gonna, if somebody comes after you, they come after you for anything and everything. And if you don't have the policies in place to cover your butt, everything that you're working for and everything that you're building can be lost. And Ray and I aren't doing this to scare the dickens out of you, just like we said before. That's not the point. It's to help you understand what a policy is and what a policy isn't, and maybe help guide you towards that asking of those right questions to your insurance agent that hopefully you can get around to the underwriter and get these things in writing to make sure, you'd be surprised too. Let's say that this policy is $5,000 for the year. Just throw something out. To have these extras added on might only be another $1,000. Okay, sometimes the other extras aren't that much more.
So Doug, my actually on this pay on this. Let me use my math here. So it's average of $520.04 a month. So times 12. So this $1 million policy is actually costing you $6,240.48. Now I had an absolute premier $2 million policy with riders, with equipment riders, with all of this great, with stuff that with the care, custody, and control on there for $8,500. For $2,000 more, I had double the coverage and I had riders for all of my equipment and all of my skids. So, I mean, it's $2,000 more, but off of $1 million, are you fussing about that so much? No, you're not. It's a cost of doing business. So I want to go back into here and start looking at this because I wrote a couple of things down. So here's the actual, and I pulled up the Thimble. And again, I'm not picking on anybody that chose Thimble, and I'm not picking on Thimble because they are insurance. Yes, they absolutely are. It's great. General liability, $1 million. Customer property protection, $2,500. Now we were talking earlier, $5,000 is actually bumped down to $2,500. I just realized that. Whenever I hit submit on there, it bumped down to $2,500, even though I had requested $5,000 in customer property protection. How fast can you spend, $2,500 on something you screw? That could be a security system.
Yep.
That's a quarter of a front door.
$2,500 is so easy to reach. It's not even funny.
Business equipment protection, $5,000, on there. So how many of us have more than $5,000 in our trailer? Yeah, absolutely. But then it also, and it says a couple of things in here, and I got to scroll down. So, you're going through this, but a couple of really amazing things that I saw that just popped out to me. And I haven't even read this thing, just crazy gone through it, but skimming it, some of the things that I noticed. Nuclear energy. I mean, there's a lot of like silly riders, for various states and such.
While you're scrolling through this, let me answer this question here. James Brown says, the attorney that did my will said someone can sue you personally, even if you are an LLC. Yeah, somebody can sue you at any given point in time and for anything at all. However, there are laws in place and rules in place that prevent them. That, again, not legal advice, all that kind of stuff. He's a lawyer, blah, blah, blah. But I think he's wrong. And yes, can they sue you? Yes, they can sue you. However, they're not going to get very far in that lawsuit unless they can prove you pierce the corporate veil. Right?
Absolutely.
And that's the whole point of it. What purpose is an LLC or a corporation or whatever if they can come after you personally for something that the corporation or the company did. If you are an employee of that company, it makes it even harder for them to come after you on a personal level, right? Because you are an employee of that company. So they have to go after the company. Can they sue you individually? Yes, but your lawyer should be able to get that thrown out right away, because they should be suing the company, not you personally.
Exactly. Yeah. Anybody can sue anybody at any time in America. It's one of the beauties of our court. So here's what, look at limits of insurance. So you get further down on the declarations page, each occurrence limit $1 million. Rented to you limit $100,000. Here's a huge thing right here. Medical expense. Do you see this? Medical expense, $5,000 right there. Okay, that's typically what you're getting. Like if you've hurt somebody, that's typically where the big stuff comes out. But you're limited right here. Any one person is $5,000. I mean, if you had a slip and fall, in Tallahassee, in our plant and property class, we talk about the guy in Tallahassee that literally died from the washer who left soap on the back door out there. So right there, that would be a $5,000 limit on there.
And how many of you guys have gone out there to wash pavers or whatever and darn near slipped and fell yourself because the sauce that you put down on top of that algae kills it all and makes it really slick. And you're thinking, okay, yeah, I got cones up and all that, but somebody can still come walking right through your job site. They can still come after you, even though they shouldn't have been there.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, hey, what's your best insurance? Photographs. You take pictures of all of that and say, what part didn't you see? I mean, did you not see the cones? Did you not see the all of it? People never bother to read through to, the insurance. It's just crazy. And whenever you start getting into these pollution right here, bodily injury arising from the actual, alleged, or threatened discharge, dispersal, seepage, mitigation, migration, release, or escape of pollutants at or from any premises, bodily injury. So tell me something, Doug. Is fungal growth a pollutant?
Fungal growth would not be a pollutant, though I could see where the argument could be made that it is a pollutant.
If you wind up releasing a fungal growth,
that's what I was getting ready to say. If you release it in the air, so mold spores are a great thing. That would be a poof.
I think a good attorney gets there and fights on that. That's been a problem on there. Kind of screwy. Mobile equipment, the transportation. So you think your mobile equipment is covered? Well, no. Look at H right here. The transportation of mobile equipment by an auto owned or operated by a rented or loaned to any insured. You get it. What that says right there. Again, I am not an attorney. I am not an insurance agent. I was a business owner. I'm now an old, fat, retired guy who's employee number 7, incidentally. But what this says to me, the transportation of mobile equipment by an auto owned or operated by you, or the use of mobile equipment while in the practice or while being prepared for, any kind of activity on there, racing, speed, or whatever. So understand, this is why it's important to have commercial vehicle insurance as well, because your regular insurance policy doesn't cover you whenever you are working commercially.
I would also argue that is a piercing of the corporate veil.
That's true.
If you're using your personal vehicle for the company, right? I mean, I see where a lawyer could take that and say that is the piercing of the corporate veil right there.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That is a huge piercing of the corporate veil whenever something is in your own name on there, unless you can sit there and say, well, there's ways, you can say, well, bought it in my name. I mean, because that was the only way I could buy it through this government entity on there. But no, absolutely. How many of us have put our, we went and paid. I bought a truck recently whenever I bought my personal truck, and I bought that nice F-250, that 2018 250. Finally didn't pay cash for a truck and actually got a small loan on that because they didn't want to, suck out the $35,000 for it. And we actually paid a higher interest rate to have that truck put into Spray Wash's name and not my personal name. Mm-hmm. I just, because, okay, it was, 2.5% to have it personal auto loan, 3.5% for Spray Wash. Put it in Spray Wash, baby. But it says
that
right here
on almost everything. When you're dealing with something on the personal level, it's cheaper than on the commercial level.
Absolutely. So another one that I wrote down here, before that I was able to get through. Damage to your work, number L or letter L right here. Property damage to your work arising out of it or any part of it included in the products completed operations hazard. This exclusion does not apply if the damage to work is blah, 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 blah. But by a subcontractor. But it literally even says in the declarations page that we're not covering stuff that you screw up.
That you toast.
Yes.
So
that's part of the CCC. That's part of the command or the care, custody, and control right there.
Jeremy Brooks said something to me that's really important. It's really the last line here. And that is, make sure you are covered and coded correctly. I think when we talk about the different insurance agents, and this is where I know I talk to a lot of guys and they say, yeah, my insurance guy, he coded me this way so that I get the lower rate, or he's doing me a solid to do this for me so that I save myself about $2,000 a year by being coded this way. Okay, great. But is he really doing you a solid if you're coded incorrectly? Again, remember, it's not the agent, it's the underwriter. Get that stuff in writing that says, yes, I am covered to wash a house. Because guess what? You may not be.
How many guys go under janitorial, which is absolutely horrible because the janitorial actually says that you're not allowed to get on a ladder. You're not allowed to actually use a gas operated machine, which guess what? Most pressure washers are gas. You could do it with an electric. You're going to be there all day. But literally the custodial janitorial insurance, which so many guys are listed under, does not pay off in our industry, Doug.
Mm-hmm. Not at all.
Whenever the shit hits the fan, when the feces hits the impeller, it's not going to pay off.
This is another good one here by Wild West. It says there's not just one law. You have to understand all the laws. So look, here's the thing about this, and that is ignorance is no excuse for the law, right? So you can't say, oh, I didn't know that. Okay, they're not going to care.
No, ignorance is no excuse. 100%, Yeah, and there's a lot about... they've got things about acts of war and blah, blah, blah. And, then they get into the medical payments on there. But remember, that was limited to $5,000. I mean, it's just insane, the limitations that are on this. And yes, Jeremy's absolutely 100% on there. You've got to know the laws. Also, it's important to have the relationship, but don't sit there and say, hey, help me out here and do me the solid. Let me do something, let me do something on the cheap, pay for it, Now I saw a comment here, even with good coverage, 2000 was quoted was insane just starting out. I agree. And, but it also depends on what you're starting out on too. Again, I'm not assuming that you're going to start out on $1 million houses. I'm not assuming that you're starting out on shopping centers where you're dealing with the public. You're probably starting out on $100,000 to $300,000 houses. Okay, well, you're probably going to be okay with the $50,000 to $100,000 policy at that point. But as you grow, you've got to budget for the insurance because your insurance needs are going to grow as well.
Yeah, and if they're not, that's, hopefully it's because you personally don't want to grow your company. But if you're looking at growing your company, if you're looking to grow, even if you're not looking to grow, let's say you want to hold out as one truck. When you very first start out, let's say you do $20,000, $30,000 your first year, and then 60,000 your next year, and 70,000 your next year, whatever, right? But you're gonna continue to grow and grow unless there's a deeper problem there. Most single trucks can do somewhere between $200,000 and $300,000 a year.
Absolutely.
So, you have to look at that, and that is your liability factor that's out there, right? And a lot of them, like with the workers' comp, they base a lot of it off of your payroll. And so your first year in business, you might not have any payroll, but then the following subsequent years, you hire somebody. And look, if you bring somebody in and they are not on workers' comp, I get it, I understand it, but try to get away from that as quickly as you can. And you can have the best friend that you've ever had, and once they get hurt, one of my best friends in my life ever had told me, money changes people. Okay. Yeah. And so especially when you get them hurt and they're strapped and they're trapped in a corner, they need to do something. And anger is part of that, fear, Absolutely. Anger. It's all part of what happens to somebody as they go through the cycle of pain, if you would, or the cycle of grief even. And so, that lawyer is calling them up and they're saying, I really didn't want to sue Ray. He's my best friend, but they see dollar signs. I mean, money changes people. The thought of money or the lack of money because they can't work anymore. And I have a question for Righteous. So it said the $2,000 quoted was insane for somebody who's just starting out. Is that $2,000 a month or is that $2,000 a year? That's got to be a month. $2,000 a year would be. I'd love that. Oh my God, I love that. But I mean, $2,000 a month would absolutely be insane for somebody starting out. I wouldn't imagine, because I was like $7,500 a month starting out. So yes, right. How were subcontractors listed under the insurance, or are they? They're going to have their own insurance, but they're also listed out as subcontractors too. The nice thing about our insurance is they're actually covering subcontractors. I mean, they really do. Now, what's going to happen is you better make sure your subcontractors have insurance because Yes, because my insurance company is going to go after my subcontractors. And knock on wood, I've never had that issue before. But same reason that if you ever subcontract out to somebody and they want to see workers' comp, and if you don't have workers' comp, they wind up charging you workers' comp back on the job on there. Same difference on there because they're going to say, they have to be covered by, you have to be covered by workers' comp. It's either going to be on the GC's workers' comp or it's going to be on your workers' comp, but you are going to be covered under workers' comp. And they will back charge you on it or they won't hire you for the job. And what does it mean to back charge you for it is very simply that they determine, okay, we're paying you X number of dollars. This is what our insurance company is costing us for you. And so they're going to take that off. So you're going to end up paying for it anyhow. It's the right thing to have. So he is saying that $2,000 a month. So that is absolutely, that's insane. Yeah. That's too high. That's too high for starting out. I mean, I know I'm going to find, I'm going to put this up here, and I'm not doing that. This is who I used. I loved this guy. Nate Marks was my And there's a group for Louisiana only washers, and I've shared in there too, the guy that we use here in Louisiana. But so you're putting up your guy there? I was going to put up this Accentria. If anybody wants to call him, it's Nate Marks, and I believe he can actually give you a referral directory because they were part of the auto owners group, the owners insurance group. Feel free, and my guy's name was Nate Marks, but he has got a list of just
It's the Mark's agency. You probably won't get a hold of Nate himself, but ask for somebody in your state. But that is Century Insurance. Been very, very happy. They're brokers. They're a very, very high quality brokerage firm. I strongly recommend them. So
Righteous, give that, click on that link, contact Nate Marks, and at least maybe he can get you a referral to the right person, or to somebody in your neck of the woods.
And yep. Yeah, maybe that would be it. But yeah, you're right. $2,000 is insane a month. And also, but California is insane too. So, Hey,
what are we going to do about giving away a ticket to the Huge? We still haven't decided that yet.
Oh, man. I'll tell you what.
You got a thought?
Well, I thought I could write down a number between 1 and 20. We have like 20. We have 19 people watching here. I don't know. How are we gonna do it? We can have say the first person.
Look, let's do this. Let's send us an email with why you want to go to the Huge convention. Let's just do that. You don't like that? I like that. No, you want to give it away tonight?
No, I mean I don't care. I mean it's all good. I mean it's only money, Doug. It's fine. We could do something like why do you hate Bobby Walker?
Oh man, that would be so long. There's so many people.
Yeah, we don't have time to write that.
Yeah, that would be unfair.
How are we going to do this,
How many hairs does
Alan's saying you said tonight, so it's tonight. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Alan Paul's right. He's right.
Yep, he did it. So I could write down a number between 1 and 20. Because we have
the first person to get it right.
First person to get it right, I'm going to write down a number between 1 and 20. On the back side of this, I've already written it. So, does that work for you?
Yeah. Do I get to try to win? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
No, so you're going to have to write it in here. So I've written a number down between 1 and 20 right here.
All right. Wait. Let's qualify this though. You can't go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, you're going to have to write it in here. They're going to have to write one entry per person.
Yeah.
One entry per person. I'm going to hold this up so that there's no cheating involved. Nobody say I changed it at all or anything like that, so
you're off camera just so you
damn
know.
It. Okay, so I have to hold it. My shoulder hurts after that thing. So whenever I see, now I've already written it down, so I can't ask Alexa for a random number. All right, well, I haven't seen them yet. So between 1 and 20, there's a number. First person that gets it gets to win a ticket to the Huge convention. I mean, good Lord, that's amazing. And nobody has gotten it yet. Man.
You can have a second guess. It's not that you can't have a second guess. You just can't go over and over again was the point.
Okay. And I guess if somebody gets the same thing, the same one. So
but it's the first person to hit it.
First person to hit it, huh? Oh,
is that it?
Oh God, they were so close.
49.
Yep. All right. Well.
I don't know what the number is.
Oh, look at there. Hold on.
No,
damn it.
No.
No, I just saw it back up here. Hold on. I swear I just saw it. Look at that. Mr. James Brown.
James Brown gets it.
17.
There you
go.
Look
at there. Congratulations, sir.
Mr. James, shoot me an email to doug@spraywashacademy.com. doug@spraywashacademy.com, and I'll get you hooked up.
Congratulations.
Congrats, Mr. James.
That is beautiful.
There you go.
Well, now Roach is doing 70, but no, James already got it. Sorry.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Oh, man.
That's awesome. I like that.
And so we're also, you said there was, the Huge was doing another giveaway sometime soon.
And depending, so next Monday, we will likely have Bo Josetti on here, and we will talk about the upcoming PWNA convention. And I think he's going to give away a ticket to the PWNA, just so you know. I think that's what he said. Cool. Or that there's going to be some special pricing for the PWNA on our show next Monday. But you just asked me a question, and I forgot what it was already.
Oh, the Huge Sid. Sid was going to come here, and you were doing something with Sid and giving away a plant and property protection class. And
so in 2 days from now, so on 7/7 at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Sid is going to go live on the Huge Convention page. We'll likely share it out here in Spray Wash Academy and all that. But 7/7 at 7 o'clock, Sid is with the Huge Convention is going to go live. He's going to announce speakers. He's going to announce I think he's going to announce who the keynote speaker is. He's got a very special guest lined up for that night, and he's going to be giving away some tickets to the Huge Convention. He'll also give away a plant and property protection class seat. So lots of good stuff going to happen on the Huge Convention page on 7/7 at 7 o'clock in the evening.
And remember, and Jeremy's even sitting there saying plant and property, baby. And remember, we're one of these, we're a group here. If you've taken plant and property before, you're always welcome to come back and audit it again. We'd love to have you there. This year, if you take it, it's actually a special bonus. You get the live, you get the online version, which never actually ends, which is kind of cool because, I mean, hell, just last week I was updating it with another like 20, 30 minutes of content, and you get the government sales class. I mean, so it's kind of freaking cool. Yeah.
It's awesome. Awesome, baby.
Sign up for the plant and property protection.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're brand new at this and you want to learn the basics, we got the basics class too.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's see, SimCoder, you want to go to the Huge Convention at 7 o'clock this Wednesday, right? Tuesday, yeah. This Wednesday, so 7/7 at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Go to the Huge Conventions page or watch it on the Spray Wash Academy page. I'm sure we'll share it there. And you might get a chance to win your way into the Huge Convention.
You know, Rusty, we're kind of like herpes.
It's not just because we have herpes. Right?
We just never really go away and just keep on giving you little presents here and there.
I think our show is better when we drink, because I know neither one of us is drinking tonight. We probably should have been. Herpes may or may not have come up at that time.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, stop it. Well, no, it's not in Florida. It's in Georgia. You're good. So downhill from here. Wow, my own wife is sitting here watching me saying downhill from here. So that's nice. Yeah. That's nice.
She would know.
She would.
Yeah.
She would.
She is a very special person, and I don't just mean for putting up with you.
Well, I hope our insurance information was helpful to everybody. And, again, did not mean this to pick on any particular insurance. And again, whenever you're going to go out and get your insurance information, get it from a qualified professional, not two knuckleheads sitting here on Facebook and YouTube talking about it. Although I will say we have the unique business experience of being insurance consumers in our medium to large companies. So we know one side of it as business owners, but not as necessarily,
But not only that, Ray. I mean, so before you started Spray Wash, you had another business before this. and you've had insurance before this.
I
And
did.
that's the same thing here. I've been personally in business since 1991. And so I've had lots of different experiences and lots of different companies and lots of different things. So that's where a lot of this knowledge and advice comes from. It doesn't just come from one little segment of our lives. And, you know, you can tell because Ray is getting really, really gray and bald that he's old. Yeah.
I'm grayer than you, and I'm balder than you, and you're older than me. I don't understand that. So,
That's just
well,
what
Wes, learn your maritime law. It's so important. Tanya, why are you sucking up to Tanya? I mean, she likes you better than me.
I don't blame her. You know.
I don't either necessarily. You know.
So there's that. Hey, and then don't forget too, while we're still on here, January is the Power Wash Stores show in Orlando.
It's true.
So don't be forgetting about that. If for some reason you missed the huge convention, which I hope you don't, there will be the PWNA in New Orleans. And by the way, just to throw it out there, I will be in Las Vegas on October. October. I don't know. I'm going for a couple things of the World Series of Poker again. So,
are you?
Yeah.
So I'm going to add that banner here, powerwashstore.com. You're right. That is January. And did you see who his keynote is on that job, on that thing?
Yes, and I don't remember. But
it is the guy that wrote Profit First, the Mike Makowitz. The man who wrote the book Profit First is going to be Paul Cassander's keynote speaker at the Power Wash Store event in Orlando in January.
That's pretty awesome.
That's pretty freaking cool.
Yes, MX, you do, or you should.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Umbrella, have it, get it. It's so cheap too. Umbrella policies, and that's your catch-all policy. Yeah. But man,
to explain that, I mean, that really is, it's an umbrella over everything you have. There's certain qualifications sometimes that you have to have, and it may not be over everything. It might be over a segment of what you have, but it's an umbrella that goes above and beyond. So your normal policy, what it doesn't cover, the umbrella should capture.
So they literally call it an umbrella because it goes here and covers, supposedly everything else, Mm-hmm. Hanover, good 3C, but doesn't cover 3-story chimney or vent hoods, So, the classes cost money at the convention. Okay, so once you go, some of them do, some of them don't. The first day of education on the 18th, plant and property costs money. The other classes costs money. Other classes that people are giving cost money on that first day. Mm-hmm. Now, on the second and third day of it, everything's included. Now, keep in mind, these classes are not as detailed as stuff you'll get on the first day either. You're going to go in there for a 45-minute to a 1 hour, hey, pump up the crowd, let's talk. Yeah, ooh, ah. And you're not getting good information, but it's not sitting here in an actual classroom format where you can teach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you've got a lot of great classes that are going to happen. You got a lot of good information that you're going to get. And I mean, the value there is tremendous. But everybody is really limited to that 1 hour time frame. And in order to fit in questions and all that, when I write the classes for them, I write my class to last about 35, 40 minutes because of the interaction with everybody. So I can only really get in about that 35, 40 minutes worth of class time. And then the rest of it is all interactions and answering questions. And then there's also that swap over time between instructors in each of the classes. So not that they're not good classes, because they are. I think there's a tremendous value there. But the classes the day before on the 18th are geared very specifically. And like I said, the very first class is about it's basically, it's an introduction. It's basics to soft washing and roof cleaning. And that's a 3 hour class that we get into that specific topic. And then the next one is plant and property, which is 4 hour, plus you get the online, which I don't even know how long that thing is now. Plus,
well, really and truly, if you think about it, plant and property is really more of a 6 or 7 hour course. We've just never been able to get through it whenever you and I teach it together, because we go down the rabbit holes, and they're not stupid rabbit holes. They're important rabbit holes that we go down there and we talk about. The class changes, literally all the time. While Wes is saying the classes you're truly invested in will they're worth it. The things you get for free, you probably honestly never care about. That's one of the problems, we see online here. So many guys sit there, they just give away this information and they think that information is free. And it's like, oh, well, what's my mix for doing so-and-so? Back in the old days, that information was valuable. That information was really, really, really important. And it's the same thing now. Like, I know how to clean a galvalume roof. I know how to deal with copper. I know how to deal with hydrangeas sitting there. We're not necessarily going to sit there and go, yeah, here, take this, because so many people will go online. Oh, how do I do this? Oh, thank you for the information. And it's not valuable to them whatsoever. But you actually learn this and you start living it and you start selling it. It's the most valuable thing in the world to you.
One of the things I remember, we're getting off a little bit, but I remember a guy that started off in this industry. He was into it maybe, 4 or 6 months, whatever, and started up his own little thing. And I remember the whole deal where, I don't know why I bring this one up again, because I think I've talked about this in the past. But sodium hypochlorite, right? SH, sodium hypochlorite, and he would call it sodium hyperchlorite. He didn't even know what it was that he was teaching about. So it was sodium hyperchlorite. And I'm like, it's not hyperchlorite. No, okay. Yeah. Sodium hyperchlorite.
Absolutely.
Anyhow.
And I don't mean this. I'm not saying this. You and I were talking about this earlier today, and I don't mean this in an arrogance whatsoever, but understand, guys out there, whenever you're on Facebook, whenever you're on YouTube, there's a lot of people out there, and you're clicking on, you're on clickbait. I mean, Doug and I literally had this conversation earlier today. There's people that there's a lot of Facebook forums out there that are essentially clickbait, getting you to click onto something and try to buy an end result of something else. Buy my knockoff proportioner and my soap that I've made because golly, this here surfactant is a really good stuff whenever you combine it with my roof pump and my knockoff proportioner. Or hey, if you let me run your Facebook ads, you're going to make $30,000 a month. Or, there's so much of that, and you don't realize that it's a soft pitch to you where they're just trying to sell you stuff. I'll actually say that, we started Spray Wash Academy. We didn't have classes to sell. We didn't jump out here and say, we're going to do this. We sold this because we started Spray Wash Academy and got up to 6,000 members. And we don't take everybody that comes in. Understand, if you can't answer the questions and say that, okay, yeah, I have an email address and I'm a verifiable person, we don't let you in. We probably don't allow in as many people as we allow in. But we
cut more people off than we allow in.
We started this thing back 5 years ago, and we didn't have anything to sell. There was no ulterior motive. We didn't even have plant and property protection back then. We just said, because we got kicked out of other forums where we were a voice in those forums, we got Ron rolled out of those forums. People that are listening that are old school will understand the phrase. So we're like, no, we want a place to be, and there's other people that are pissed off about it. So we created Spray Wash Academy. This wasn't sat here and said, oh, we're going to find a way to sell people crap, because we didn't have anything to sell whenever we started this forum.
Let me answer a couple questions here real quick. So the first one here, Truth Seeker says, what course has the Galvalume in it? That would be the plant and property protection class, covers the Galvalume. And then James
And we have
Brown,
a special pro members only Galvalume class too.
yeah,
Yeah. Or the metal roofing class, should I say?
the metal roof class, yeah.
It's only
James Brown
free for
says,
pro members. Yeah.
do you get a certification with the paid classes? What were the costs of the 2 classes on the first day? So the first class is a basics, and it is basically it's an introduction to roof cleaning and soft washing. That is not a certification class. That one is $199. And then you have the plant and property protection class, which happens after that. That is a certification class. That is $499. If you're not a pro member, it's half price if you are a pro member. And then that's the one that you also get the government sales, and you get the online and in-person plant and property protection class. And yes, that is a certification class. You will have to go. Look, you're going to go to the class. You're going to take the class, and then you're going to take the online version. You're going to take your test online. Once you pass the test online, then we get you your certification for the plant and property.
You get a logo you can use. It says Spray Wash Academy Plant and Property, certified, and all that awesome stuff. So, and you can use it in your marketing, and people can sit there and say, "Oh, well, it's useless." And there's 2 schools of thought on that. But you know what? Anything that you wind up marketing and makes you feel better about it, and you can tell your customers, you know what, it actually does have value on there. So I would argue, are we government certified? No, but then again, neither ours is most of the other certifications you ever see. And Wild West is bringing up about sodium hypochlorite and electrolysis. 100%. I mean, how many times have we seen metal being etched by stuff, and then a little electrical charge into something on there, and it just eats away. I mean, and heck, even the plant and property, we talk about what happens with the sodium hypochlorite popping off that coating that happens on the electrostatic coating that happens on soffit and fascia out there.
Yeah, a lot of times on the aluminum, where you see it pitting, it's from the bleach, and it's from the salts left over on the bleaches. From the bleach.
100%. Nothing is useless in psychology. People love seeing those certs on your website. Absolutely. Absolutely, And
as I always say, certifications aren't worth crap if you don't do something with them.
Bingo. That's true.
Education is pointless. Education is pointless if you don't use it, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if we're talking about kindergarten through the 12th grade, or if you go get yourself a college degree, of which, by the way, I know several people who got college degrees and never did anything with their college degrees, period. So, there's that. But
I have a college
if you
degree.
don't do something with it, it's useless.
I have a college degree.
Yeah, you do.
I have
and you have a teaching degree, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I have a couple of teaching certificates from the state of Florida. And I have a bachelor's of science in communication from Florida State University. I'm so sad that Rich and Maria Rich isn't here to give me crap about Florida State, because
as my son says, did you know I have a doctorate in commercial diving?
Really? I know you're a commercial diver. I didn't realize you had a doctorate in it.
I don't. That's what my son says. My son says, well, at least you got a doctorate in commercial diving. Yeah. No.
Did you see, speaking of commercial diving, did you see the fireball in Mexico? Oh my God, you got to look it up. A natural gas pipeline outside of Mexico erupted. Just happened the last day or two. And they've got pictures. And there was a fire. It was like the BP Horizon, except it was natural gas. It wasn't just an oil line leak. And it caught on fire underneath the ocean. And there was just this fireball erupting from a natural gas leak. You're talking about steamed fish,
Yeah. Oh, I'll tell you what.
Emmanuel said he saw it. So, yep.
Yeah. Gulf of Mexico is where I did most of my diving, but actually my worst, one of my worst incidents was actually only in 5 foot of water depth, but I was 20 feet down. So you were talking about a pipeline ruptured, gas pipeline. And so when it blows, it takes all the mud and it digs its way out and it pushes it, So we had to go fix this pipeline. And so even though the water depth was only 5 feet, is 15 foot down in this hole. And we ended up having to dive a hat called the rat hat or rat suit. You got to get me into a long off-the-wall conversation here, but the rat hat is something that you can't. So you hook up your own bailout bottle as a commercial diver, but this one, it's a sealed suit, and the connection is behind you. We'll have to talk about that story one day, because that's a very interesting near-death.
Really?
Yeah. It's one of the single closest times I came to death.
Wow.
It was very still vivid in my brain.
Wow, that's creepy. I mean, that is some serious man stuff that you were doing there.
Yeah.
You know that. Not with
surprising coming from me, right? Yeah. Is that where you're going, Bobby?
Not at all. No, I mean, I mean that with all.
We're on the same page there, right? Yeah.
I mean, with hats off and I mean, that is some serious man stuff on there. You know, commercial diving. That's some pretty cool stuff.
Very good. I will take care of that, Mr. James. I'll get you hooked up.
You know what? And we got to. Yes, I would say so. Yes, if you get the online, you still get your certification on there.
Yeah, you just have to pass all the tests. You'll get your certification.
If you pass the test, you do that.
Yeah.
I'm no truth seeker saying he's got time to hear the story if you want to tell it. So.
Oh, it's kind of long. Do I want to do this?
I don't know.
All right. Okay. So I make the first dive, right? There's 3 of us on the job, and we're in a jack-up boat. Those of you that don't know what it is, a jack-up boat has legs on it. It puts the legs down, jacks the boat up out of the water. Okay. So great. So I make the first dive. I go down, and I start feeling something on my neck, right? So I come up, and my neck is all red where the water and the gas bubbles have been coming up and touching me. So I swap places. Now I'm the lead. I'm the head technician, if you would. Put the next diver in the water. He goes down, and within first couple seconds, he's like, "Hey man, you got to pull me out of here." We were getting burned up by the gases. So they pulled us off the job, and they sent us out with what's called the rat hat. The rat hat is a suit that is completely sealed, right? So you don't ever get wet. The difference between the 2 hats is that my commercial dive hat, as a diver, I hook up my own bailout bottle. The bailout bottle is very simply that. If you run out of air, you can hit your bailout bottle and you have a certain amount of air left over until the issue gets fixed. Well, the rat hat is behind you. And I distinctly remember telling my tender is the guy that helps me get dressed, right? I remember telling him, hey, remember, I can't hook up my own bailout bottle, so you have to do it. Great, no problem. So get everything in. I jump in. I'm down. I'm working, and I'm working with a jet pump, trying to clear some mud out, right? And the guy comes over the radio and says to me, "Hey, I gotta go pee. I'll be right back." And I said, "Okay, great, go for it." And as soon as I said that, I heard this sound that is very distinct to a diver. When you run out of air one time, you never forget that sound. And I said to him, "Hey, before you go, can you check my air pressure?" And my air was already going away. He was already going to go pee. So like he got up, he must have hit the shutoff valve and shut his air off to me.
Wow.
So I'm only 20 feet underwater, but I'm 15 feet in the mud. Okay. So I'm down. As divers, we take our hose and we have a signal that we can send to the top side to say, "Hey, I'm in trouble." So I started pulling my hose, and the hose is coming into the hole with me. Okay. Remember, I have very little air. I'm already out of air, and I'm wearing a helmet. So no problem. I'm not going to panic. I hit my bailout bottle, and I hear it flopping around behind me. I'm like, okay, well, this isn't good, right? Because now I got no air. Well, the suit that I'm wearing has a little bit of air in it, but the suit is a watertight suit. So it's got this thing that wraps around your neck like this, and then your helmet comes on, right? And it seals to it. So as I'm running out of air, this thing starts to squeeze my neck like this.
Oh my God.
It's literally squeezing me. And just as I feel like I'm about to pass out, it lets a little bit of air out of my suit and into my hat, and gives me just enough to get a little bit of air, right? I'm trying to climb out of the hole. I can't, because it's solid mud. I can't climb off my hose because I'm pulling it into the hole with me. The jet hose, I can't, it's coming into the hole with me. I'm in dire need, right? So the second time, it's even worse, right? It's just literally choking me out. And I get a second air bubble, but all of that air, it takes my suit and it's just like a boa constrictor, just squeezing me. So anyhow, I'm telling you, I literally was at that last point, and all I could do was go, "Urgh." And he had gotten back and heard that because that's the last that's coming out. I got nothing left. And he hit that air, and it comes to you like real quick. Right. So all of a sudden I get this air, and I'm like, and I can't. I'm near passed out at this point. They have to pull me up, and first of all, they're pulling all this hose, which isn't supposed to happen.
Right.
So they pull me up. They pull me to the ladder. I can't get out. I mean, I've just got choked out. Right. They get me up and they get me over to a chair and they pull my hat off of me. My face was like a big freaking balloon, right? All the blood, all the stuff, from just being squeezed so badly. And I looked at the tender, and I mean, he's devastated on just that he just almost killed me, right? And he's like, he's worried that I'm going to kill him. I mean, I got tools, I can kill this guy, right?
Right.
And he's like, man, don't freak out. I'm sorry. I'm like, I'm not, because the look on your face tells me one thing, and that is this is never going to happen to anybody. But I was swollen. I was big time swollen for a good while. That was
wow.
And that's the shortened version of it. It was intense.
Wow.
Yeah. Fun stuff.
That's manly shit right there, Doug.
Oh, if we get into talking about diving, man, we won't get off of here.
Woo!
Not at all.
That is cray right there.
One of my good friends, he DC Dave Copeland, so nobody ever figured out why. So I actually lost a couple of friends, but so nobody ever figured out why it was. He was on a job. He was down about 200 feet, and when you dive, you have a standby diver ready to come down and get you. And typically you don't just have 3 people on a job like that. But anyhow, so he just took his hat off for no known reason.
Really?
Yeah. And I mean, and I think the reason being is because and this is a lesson for us in this industry, when you get into pressure washing and doing the things that you do and spraying the chemicals that you do, you get so comfortable in what it is that you do that sometimes your brain shuts off. Yeah. And I think that's what happened to him. I used to have pretty long hair. I was kind of a stud muffin, right? And so I was wearing a bandana.
You still are.
Yeah, I still am on it. I was wearing a bandana on a dive, and the bandana worked its way down over my eyes a little bit. You can't reach your hand up. So I was just going to take my hat off, fix my bandana.
Yeah, and put it back on.
You forget that you're underwater. You're pressure washing. Sometimes you just forget that, hey, my toes are right there. So just keep that in mind when you're doing this kind of stuff.
One of my friends he owned a window cleaning company, and the guy came back after lunch, and they were doing some high work, and he got in his bosun's chair off the edge of the window. He'd been cleaning windows all day, and he jumped over the side of the building, and he forgot to hook his bosun's chair up to the things. And you're right. You get so absolutely used to doing something, you tend to forget some of your safety protocols on there, and that's something you can't do. Here's one of my manliest ever. So here I am on
Pucker factor 12.
Huh?
Pucker factor 12.
Oh yeah. This was actually my first ever rappel.
Wow.
Right there. So that was me getting set for it. Here's a little close view of me getting set for it. Like I love my guy who's all concentrating there on his phone. That's just awesome. Here's the building that I was on. So, and here's me going over the side of that mother.
And it looks like your rope doesn't have anything protecting the edge of it.
Yeah, that was whenever I was young and stupid right there. But yeah, here I was on there. I didn't have the bosun's chair on me because of the way it was moving around. We couldn't take the bosun's chair, and I was up there doing some window repairs on this thing. So it was fun stuff. So pretty freaking amazing on there.
Yeah.
The shit we do for money.
Yeah,
oh, man.
The stuff we do for free. Especially when we're younger, right? I don't even want to get into younger stories. One of my buddies that is on here, I mean, we got some stories. We won't get into them, but we got them.
Oh, cool. So I'm paying for tickets with my subcontractor. He'll drive to Atlanta. And so now there's 2 coming to the huge. Awesome.
That's awesome.
Tanya made the comment, checklists are critical. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. I mean, and I don't care if you're doing what we do, the dive, the anything. A checklist is so important to have. All of our I used to be really, really anal about that. And we had checklists on the job. Are the job, is it taped off? Is it this? Is it this? What goes back on the truck? What goes here? What goes there? Checklists are so important.
And who's responsible for what?
We have a very good friend in common, and I'm not going to say his name because he hasn't necessarily given me permission to share this, but I'm going to share it. But one of his office policies is that the lead tech is just, he's put this in here, this check, as just an extra little precaution, but the lead tech has to send in photographs to the office manager of the plant and property protection that has been done at that property. Mm-hmm. Then the office manager gives them the okay to proceed with washing the job. Just kind of brilliant,
Yeah. Very much so. That's the CYA that Wild West is talking about.
Absolutely. The new company that now with Crystal Clean, I see how a large company does it. And, before a truck is taken out of the shop, before a truck is gone on the job, literally you go through, do the running lights work, do the emergency lights work, do the hazard lights work, do the special flashers work, do this, do that, do this. I mean, and you're a 30-item checklist that better be checked. Not only is it checked off, but, for FDOT regulations, there's also someone that's signing their name to it. Mm-hmm. And that lead tech, whoever's driving the truck, is actually sitting there signing the iPad or the iPhone and saying, this truck is my responsibility. I have checked out all of these safety features on here.
Yeah.
100%.
That's a good thing to do.
So critical.
Check your tires, all of it.
Absolutely. I mean, and this is a very large company that bought us, and they've invested in a software program that I could have never have afforded to do. What we used to do on paper, they have actually digitized on there. And I'm not saying this to brag about them. I'm saying this to say even a large company sees the need in a digital checklist that they're going to invest tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars into, to CYA on a company level, to CYA on a technician's level, to CYA on a technician's helper's level on there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Dex, we're using something called Dex, what Tanya's talking about. I mean, it's amazing. Rusty saying pre-flying an airplane before you take off. Absolutely. Because they say the old pilot thing, the 3 things you can't use is the altitude above you, the runway behind you, and the fuel you didn't bring. It's one of the reasons you do your checklist on there. Is everything working? You got your fuel, you got your stuff.
That's one of the things that I appreciated the most about, like, I went out on a flight with Terry McConnell. He's a pressure washer in our industry, and going out pre-flight, and you're supposed to, haul it back, clear prop, make sure there's nobody there, and other guys, that I've flown with in the past that actually go out and they do those pre-checks, and they check and see if there's any water in the fuel. These are important things, and they're things that you have to do. Scott, are you guys still talking? Yeah. We're still talking. Scott, we're old and we have nothing better to do.
Exactly.
So, hey, there you go. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I know of someone that was killed by not saying clear prop. The guy did not sit there and say clear prop, and it was absolutely crazy, because there was somebody walking out in front, and he flipped a switch and fired it, and there was somebody out there. He was not doing his checks. There was another story where the guy had actually leaned up against the propeller and it wasn't turned off. The magnetos weren't turned off inside, and whenever he, like a perfect little thing of he sat there and like put his elbows on the propeller, and it was just enough of a compression stroke to get the thing, pumping over one or two times, and it killed the guy. So
yeah. I remember seeing one where the prop came around and it hit the guy, and I mean it just laid his brain wide open. He survived it, though, surprising.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, bad stuff.
Absolutely. Oh, I'm so happy Scott finally actually commented. So has he been stalking the whole time, or?
That's odd that he's not,
I've got Scott and my wife who are stalking me tonight. That's just awesome.
Yeah, there you go.
Mm-hmm. Well, Doug, we have managed to waste another 2 hours of these good people's time. So thank you all for watching us. We so appreciate you. And again, find a good insurance guy that you can talk to, that, and then, like Wild West was saying, understand the maritime law, understand insurance law, understand law in general, at least what you can. I mean, it's, and if you can't, then find somebody you trust that you can pay.
And all you Florida peeps, stay safe with the little storm that's coming through there.
Yeah, our 11 o'clock will be coming out here soon, and I can't wait. But I keep on seeing that bad boy is coming up my way, I think. So I'm excited.
Awesome.
Thank you very much, Jacob. We appreciate that. All right, guys, we're out.
Peace, y'all. Thank you very much.